inspiring and resilient. Ginsburg's death will obviously affect the high court, the scales. It could tip to the conservatives even more. That is now going to be the headlines as we head into the November election. To break that down for us, let's bring in our political analyst, Larry Gerston. Professor, Senator Mitch McConnell already releasing a statement less than 2 hours after her passing, saying President Trump's nominee will receive a vote on the floor of the U.S. Senate. Your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting, of course, if you go back a couple of years when it was the last year of the Obama administration, he went ahead and recommended Merrick Garland. It was in February. And Mitch McConnell, as now, as the head of the Senate, the majority leader, said, you know, it's the last year of his presidency, so I don't think it's a good idea for us to have hearings. Fast forward. Now we are not in the last year of potentially the first term, at least, or maybe the last term as well, of the Trump presidency. We're in the last couple of months. And this time he said we're going to hold hearings. When pressed on this, by the way, he said, well, it's different because now we have a Republican president and a Republican majority in the Senate. So that's how he discerns one instance from another. I suspect that critics will have another look at it other than that.
Senator McConnell said that was President Obama's second term. He was wrapping up his second term. This is President Trump's first term. He could be reelected. Does that make a difference, Larry?
Well, it doesn't to Mitch McConnell. I mean, he's got it worked out. Look, the most important thing for Senator McConnell, he's made it very clear, is to get as many conservative justices on the court as possible. It hasn't always been this way. Liberals dominated this court during the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Conservatives now have come into their own the last few years. It's been a tentative majority, a tight majority. But assuming that President Trump goes ahead and appoints or nominates a judge, a would-be justice, from the list provided for him by the Federalist Society, a very conservative legal society, I'm assuming that that person will be nominated, most likely a woman, and will be confirmed. Now, yes, there are some problems on the edges. Some senators, Republican senators, up for re-election. They'll have a hard choice to make. It's possible there'll be one or two defections. I suspect a defection on the other end from Senator Jones, a Democrat from Alabama. But at the end of the day, this is Mitch McConnell's singular goal, more important than anything else, and he's going to put all of his energy behind it.
This would tip the high court to 6 on the more conservative side and 3 liberals. Let's talk about how soon, how fast could this pass in the Senate? All they need is a simple majority, right, Larry?
They need a simple majority. I would say we're talking within a month, 6 weeks at the most, certainly before Thanksgiving. The president will take a few days to vet. Specifically, he'll probably interview a handful of potential nominees off of that Federalist list. He'll then go ahead and nominate one of them. I think it'll be within the next week or two. Then the Senate will hold hearings. Along the way, the would-be justice will be escorted from one senator to another, meeting for 45 minutes or an hour, getting to know you type of stuff. The Judiciary Committee, headed by Lindsey Graham, will go ahead and hold hearings. The Democrats, I suspect, will oppose because the person will probably be very conservative. The Republicans, of course, will be for it for the same reasons. And the vote probably, you know, unless it's unusual, it will probably go down. And this is what happens in politics. You know, there are consequences with every presidential election. And the appointment of judges is perhaps the most meaningful of all.
Larry, we are out of time, but I want to ask you quickly, how many Republicans would have to flip to block this nomination? And do you think that would happen?
You'd have to have 4 to flip, and maybe 3 because Jones would go the other way. I don't. But you know what? Anything can happen. I'll tell you this much. Mitch McConnell will push hard.
Okay, Larry Gerston, our political analyst, thank you so much.